perspective by Mahesh Jethmalani, who's been with the BJP, is a senior advocate and a legal eagle himself. Aryama Sundaram, arguing on India Today, tried to build the case why this is an exceptional order because he's been given interim bail. There's a big election happening. He needs to have the right to be able to go out and campaign, and therefore there's nothing amiss with what the Supreme Court has done. Is that your sense as well, or do you think, Mr. Jethmalani, this could set a very bad precedent?
Well, basically, lawyer first and politician second, Rahul, right? Bail should really be granted on bail jurisprudence, right? Extraneous factors like the ongoing elections, etc., ought not to weigh. Frankly, there's no precedent for this, right? So I have to say this is an unusual order.
No, so he says in the High Court case of Sanjeev Khanna, this is not unprecedented in the manner of interim bail. It's unprecedented because of it's an election, but not unprecedented otherwise. Under different circumstances in the same matter, interim bail has been given.
Listen, bail has been given. Interim bail has been given in many cases.
Correct.
Right? Interim bail is not the issue. The issue is the ground on which it is given. There's a single ground, and that is the ongoing election ground. That's all. And, in the past, precedents actually go on the other way. Look at Jayalalitha's case. You look at Lalu's case, right? They were refused interim bail for the brief period of the elections. So the precedents go the other way. I'm not on that. Rahul, there's something more serious. This is a man who avoided 9 summons from October 23, right? 9 ED summons were willfully disobeyed. And he treated them with contempt. After refusing 9 summonses, he then dared the ED to arrest him. They arrested him. So the signaling is wrong. The messaging in this case particularly is wrong, right? I have no problem. I would not even blink an eyelid, right? If somebody said, give him some time to go for bail, there may be no precedent for it, but it's, all judicial discretion is really an appeal to judicial conscience. So if the present bench felt that, let him go for his elections in 3 weeks, we'll hem it with conditions, right? And he'll be back in jail after 3 weeks, right? And then we'll decide that the petition which they were hearing in which the bail was done. All that is fine. But this man has a history in this particular matter, right? 9 summonses and a dare.
No, but he will come back
to
Tihar on the 1st of June. It's part of his bail conditions.
What is part of his bail conditions?
The fact that he'll come back after the 1st June campaign ends is part of the interim bail condition. So he has no option in that.
Yes, of course. So that's all good. I said it's hemmed in with good conditions. But I'm saying the messaging is wrong only for the reason of this man's attitude. He flagrantly disobeyed the law. If you don't attend the summons, right? 9 times. It is contumacious conduct which normally disentitles you to bail.
But the Supreme Court also said that this is quite exceptional because elections happen only once in 5 years, that he should be allowed to go out and campaign. Does this then set a precedent? Because I was seeing that Amrit Pal Singh and the Solicitor General referred to that, the Khalistani separatist who's in Dibrugarh jail on NSA charges. He's saying, I'm also fighting as an independent from Khadur. I also want bail. Now, when this goes before the Supreme Court bench, if it's the same bench or another bench, then how do they look at a case like that? He's not been convicted either.
Yeah, no. So look, now that's the problem. The other issue is it opens floodgates in the kind of cases which you just mentioned. It does. And the Supreme Court, they're going to have to make fine distinctions in each case now, right? When you exercise jurisdiction, right, discretion, you have to look at what is the outcome, what are the consequences of exercising that discretion in the. And I think both his past conduct and the floodgates argument were good reasons for not doing it. I'm not grudging Kejriwal bail, right? And the Supreme Court believes that elections are the lifeblood, like we all do of a democracy. Fair enough. But, then it should apply equally across the board to everybody, right? If Soren comes knocking at the Supreme Court's door tomorrow, he should be released on bail. What's the difference?
Now, how would you look at the difference between the Soren case and this? Because the Supreme Court, in the proceedings that were going on, said he is not a habitual offender, that he could have been arrested earlier. You've arrested him in the election cycle. How would you, if you were in the court, compare this case with the Soren case?
Well, I would say Soren's case stands on a better footing because
Why?
he didn't disobey 9 summons. He didn't disobey 9th summons. You know, it's an offense to disobey a summons by a public officer acting in the course of his duty. It's an offense in itself.
Okay, so you said you'll speak as a lawyer first, politician second. Now, if you put on your politician hat, 2 weeks to go, election campaign, and speak. This is not good news for the BJP. The BJP tried very hard through the Solicitor General to avoid this. Fact is, he is a pugnacious campaigner. He's often gotten under the skin of the BJP leadership. He's now out, not completely unbridled and free to do what he wants, but he will have some restrictions. But as far as politics goes, he'll punch as hard as he can.
But nothing wrong with that. He was punching even from within jail. He was punching at that. His statements were coming out every day from within jail. So, you know, that's good. Look, politically, I think, right, if it wasn't for his past conduct, etc., and if it wasn't for the absence of any precedent, and in fact, precedents of the country, I would say, all right, it's 3 weeks, you know, elections, lifeblood of democracy, 18th Lok Sabha elections, everything the Supreme Court said. But there's a history and there's a consequence of what you've said, what you've done in this case, right? I think Soren's case is better given the conduct of Arvind Kejriwal, which Soren didn't indulge.
Okay, we'll leave it over there. I know that I pulled you out of dinner, so I won't hold you any longer. Thank you very much, Mahesh Jethmalani, for joining me.
Thank you so much.
The Delhi Chief Minister is out of Tihar jail, but only till the 1st of June after being granted interim bail by the Supreme Court. Arvind Kejriwal arrested AAP supporters as he made his way to the official civil lines residence. The Delhi CM will be going to Hanuman Mandir in Connaught Place tomorrow. He'll also be addressing the media soon after. So the Delhi Chief Minister holding his punches for the moment, saying he'll do a press conference tomorrow where he'll speak out. Let's take a look at what the Home Minister told India today during a rally in West Bengal when we asked him about the Delhi CM's release.
अरविंद केजरीवाल को आज जमानत मिली है, वो कह रहे हैं सारे देश में
आपने ऑर्डर पढ़ा है, ये जमानत नहीं है, टेम्पररी बेल है, 1 तारीख को फिर से सरेंडर होना है।
वो कोई प्रभाव पड़ेगा क्या? वो कह रहे हैं सारे देश में चुनाव हम प्रचार करेंगे, ऐसा कोई प्रभाव पड़ सकता है?
नहीं तो वो कर ही सकते, इसमें क्या है, बहुत सारे लोग प्रचार करें, वो भी करें, और जब जब प्रचार करने जाएंगे लोगों को शराब घोटाला याद आएगा।
The Delhi CM is currently on the way to his residence. I want to show you what his senior colleague, Aam Aadmi Party leader, member of parliament in the Rajya Sabha, Sanjay Singh, said after hearing of Kejriwal's release.
तानाशाही का अंत करने के लिए अरविंद केजरीवाल जी संघर्ष कर रहे हैं, लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं। उनके साथ आम आदमी पार्टी का एक एक कार्यकर्ता मिलकर देश की जो तानाशाह सरकार है, प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की तानाशाही का अंत हम लोग करेंगे। केजरीवाल जी ने आज आह्वान किया है देश की 145 करोड़ जनता से कि वो इस लड़ाई में उनका साथ दें, तन मन धन से। लगातार अरविंद केजरीवाल जी इस तानाशाही का अंत करने के लिए, हिटलर शाही का अंत करने के लिए, मोदी शाही का अंत करने के लिए संघर्ष कर रहे हैं। और आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो फैसला दिया है उससे भारत के लोकतंत्र को बचाने के लिए, लोकतंत्र की रक्षा को करने के लिए बहुत बड़ी मदद अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की अगुवाई में मिलेगी। इससे पूरे इंडिया गठबंधन को फायदा होगा, देश भर में फायदा होगा। और ये फैसला जो माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय का है वो स्वागत योग्य है। सर झुका के हम लोग इस फैसले का नमन करते हैं।
ज्यादा खुश ना हो क्योंकि ये सिर्फ कैंपेनिंग के लिए मिला है।
बीजेपी चोरों की पार्टी है, भ्रष्टाचारियों की पार्टी है। देश भर के जितने लुटेरे हैं आज सब भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ हैं। भारतीय जनता पार्टी एक्सपोज हो चुकी है। इंडिया गठबंधन की सरकार बनेगी, 300 से ज्यादा सीटें आएंगी इंडिया गठबंधन की। बुरी तरीके से बीजेपी हारेगी। हर मोर्चे पर देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने झूठ बोला है, चाहे किसान हो, नौजवान हो, चाहे माताएं बहनें हो, चाहे महंगाई कम करने का मामला।
The biggest question at this moment is what impact can Arvind Kejriwal's release have on the Delhi, Punjab and Haryana elections, and also in the larger context of the battle against the NDA. Joining me on this broadcast is Yashwant Deshmukh, founder director of C Voter. Ashutosh joins us. We've got Raghav Avasthi from the BJP. Shazia Ilmi joins us, national spokesperson of the BJP. Anmol Pawar joins us from the Aam Aadmi Party. I want to go across to Yashwant Deshmukh first. Yashwant, campaigning in Delhi has just about less than 2 weeks left. So there's very little time still to go. He comes out, strategizes tonight, hits the streets tomorrow. Is there enough time for Arvind Kejriwal to be able to make a material difference in Delhi, given the fact that there are about 1/3 of the voters in Delhi vote for AAP in the assembly context and BJP in the Lok Sabha context? So they're used to pressing the buttons of both these parties. So there is high fungibility and high transfer prospects. But can it change within just 2 weeks?
It can and it cannot in both ways. I mean, a week is a long time in politics, Rahul. That said and done, things are not that straightforward in Delhi politics. For example, the liquor scam in which Mr. Kejriwal has been having all kind of issues is not a scam, not an issue or scam which has been raised by the BJP. It's something on which the Congress has been hyper aggressive. Is the Congress leadership which has been gone after Aam Aadmi Party, hammer and tongs in big time in the last 2 years. I get not a single BJP leader has been that aggressive as been, the Congress state leadership. So the issue is that right after that entire episode, there is an alliance, and whether that alliance is good enough to forgive and forget whatever has happened in the past, and whatever has happened in the past is not something as if that has happened last year. It is like till Mr. Kejriwal got arrested, till the seats selection was going on, till the point of time that Congress actually decided, okay, we are going ahead with the seat sharing with the Aam Aadmi Party. So it's not just about the equation of BJP versus Aam Aadmi Party or Modi versus Arvind Kejriwal. There is a very significant, important aspect of Congress in this equation as well. And please remember, while there is a 1/3 vote, rightly said, swinging between Aam Aadmi Party and between BJP in the 2 elections, that vote happens to be a largely anti-Congress vote bank, which Kejriwal and BJP both
Try and explain this in numbers. I want all of you to spend just a couple of minutes with me as I try and break down what to expect, and then you'll really have a sense of why Kejriwal's release on interim bail at this moment is so significant. So I'll show you the overall vote share of the BJP, the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party cutting across Assembly and Lok Sabha elections. So just bear with me for a moment as I take you through this data. The purple graph is that of the Aam Aadmi Party, the blue line is that of the Congress, the saffron of course the BJP. So now if you see in 2015 Lok Sabha, the BJP had 46% vote share, the Aam Aadmi Party had 33, the Congress had 15. From 33, the AAP jumps to 54 in the 2015 Assembly elections and the BJP crashes from 46 to 32, a 14% fall. Then suddenly, the BJP jumps back from 32 to 57 and the AAP in 2019 in the Lok Sabha elections crashes from 54 to 18 and Congress in fact overtakes the AAP. And then in the 20 Assembly elections, the Aam Aadmi Party shoots up from 18 to 54 and the BJP falls from 57 to 39. Now, if I were to put this on a graph and explain to you how the vote seems to be shifting, you pick up a very interesting pattern. And I want you to look at 2015 Assembly versus 2014 Lok Sabha. So, suddenly, between the last Lok Sabha and the 15 Assembly elections, the AAP gains 21% votes. The BJP loses 14, the Congress loses 5. So if AAP is gaining 21, most of them are coming from the BJP because the BJP lost 14. Now suddenly cut to the Lok Sabha where AAP falls 36% and the BJP goes up 25, 13% goes to the Congress. So of the 36 they lost, the AAP lost. 25 went to the BJP and 13 to the Congress and the AAP really just crashed. What this essentially means, and this is the most important line that you have to look at, that this 36% which went down, and it never really, a chart never really is so perfect. The 36% vote share that they lost, most to the BJP, some to the Congress, came back in the Assembly election of 2020. What that essentially means is that there are 36% voters, 18% of whom seem to be from the BJP. 18% of the total voters seem to be from the BJP who voted for the BJP in the Lok Sabha election of 2019 and they voted for the Aam Aadmi Party in the 2020 Assembly elections. Now, if it's an 18% fall away from the BJP, which means that's what's really at stake. These are people who voted for the AAP in the Assembly election but didn't vote for them in the Lok Sabha election. There's 18% such voter. Now, if you come to the seat-by-seat breakup and see the gap between the parties, at least on 4 seats, if you add the Congress AAP vote share, compare it to the BJP vote share, of the 7 seats, in 4 seats is a relatively tight battle. And remember, the 18% BJP voters who are up for grabs if Kejriwal can now grab them. Now see, Chandni Chowk, the gap is 47 versus 53%. Northeast Delhi, 48 versus 48, so no gap. New Delhi, 48 versus 49, hardly a gap. 49 versus 48 in East Delhi, again, hardly a gap. So if 18% voters up for grabs and the gap is just 3% in a city where there's a lot of social media presence, digital awareness, messages come much faster than they would in a state like Jharkhand or Orissa. Things can change and things can change fast. Remember, AAP emerged as a phenomena from virtually nowhere. So therefore, as I said, it makes things very interesting. In the other seats, Northwest Delhi, it's a big gap, 45 versus 44. West Delhi, 54 versus 43. South Delhi, 51 versus 46. So there's still a reasonable gap. But on 4 seats, it's a very, very tight fight. I'm excited not for what happens. I'm excited because it's a scenario which can change very quickly depending on what happens. There's, of course, the phenomenal presence of the Prime Minister. It's a Lok Sabha election. He has a huge amount of charisma and the election is still largely about him. But Arvind Kejriwal is also a master when it comes to playing the victim card. Therefore, Yashwant Deshmukh, in light of those numbers, it becomes very clear that if in, as I estimate, 18% voter is a swing voter between BJP and AAP, and the gap on at least 4 seats is less than 3-4%, this is now a very exciting election for everyone. No matter what happens, it's a very exciting election.
It is. And thank you for showing those numbers, Rahul, simply because it also tells us one very wonderful fact that 80 each when you talk about the AAP surplus in the assembly election coming from the BJP and coming from the Congress both. That means there is an 18% anti-Congress vote which shifted to the Aam Aadmi Party and 18% anti-BJP vote which shifted to Aam Aadmi Party. Now the question is, when they come together, do these 18% votes which are anti-Congress shifted from BJP to Aam Aadmi Party, do they shift to the Congress candidates when they are contesting together?
Correct.
And classically speaking, Rahul, what the brilliant thing that came out from your graphic, that the seats where it is neck and neck are precisely the seats which Aam Aadmi Party has left for the Congress. That means Congress, if they are not very sure of having a 100% transfer from Aam Aadmi Party, which by the way has 18% on an average, anti-Congress vote shifting from the BJP.
Okay, Arvind Kejriwal has reached his residence. He's speaking at the moment. Let's listen in.
और मैं हनुमान जी का उनकी वंदना करता हूं, उनके चरणों में वंदना करता हूं, जिनके आशीर्वाद से आज मैं जेल से बाहर आया हूं। हमें सबको मिलके आज देश बहुत तानाशाही के दौर से गुजर रहा है। हमारा देश 4000 साल से ज्यादा पुराना है। हमारा देश महान देश है, लेकिन जब जब इस देश पे किसी ने भी तानाशाही करने की कोशिश की, लोगों ने उसे कभी बर्दाश्त नहीं किया। आज देश तानाशाही के दौर से गुजर रहा है। मैं तन मन धन से उसे खर्च कर रहा हूँ, पर 140 करोड़ लोगों को मिलकर इस तानाशाही को हराना होगा। मैं लोगों से अपील करता हूं कि हमें सबको मिलकर देश को बचाना है। कल सुबह 11 बजे हनुमान जी का आशीर्वाद लेने के लिए हम सब लोग हनुमान मंदिर जाएंगे कनॉट प्लेस में। मैं सभी लोगों से अपील करता हूं कि सब लोग आएं, सब लोग हनुमान जी का आशीर्वाद लेंगे। करेंगे सर कैंपेन। और 1 बजे पार्टी ऑफिस जाएंगे, पार्टी ऑफिस में प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस होगी। और कल शायद साउथ दिल्ली में रोड शो है, उस रोड शो में पार्टिसिपेट करूंगा। आगे क्या अरविंद जी,
When Sanjay Singh came out, he made a long speech. Kejriwal making this very short speech. You understand his mind well. Why do you think he spoke so little? He could have spoken much longer. Prime time television, just out of jail. Why is he holding fire? Ashutosh? Ashutosh, you understand Kejriwal's mind well. Sanjay Singh made a long, rousing speech when he came out. Kejriwal speaking very briefly. Why is he holding fire? He could have spoken for much longer had the national media limelight firmly focused on him. He's chosen to make a very short speech.
Rahul, the fact is that Sanjay Singh any day is a much better speaker in public rallies and other places. Arvind Kejriwal is a very forceful speaker, but not a very passionate speaker in that sense. But he made very critical 2 points. One point is just after coming out of the jail, he talked about कि हमें तानाशाही का अंत करना है, देश के 140 करोड़ लोगों को इसमें शामिल होना है. Second point is said कि कल 11 बजे दिन में हम जाएंगे हनुमान जी के पास. Now these are two political statements. Just अभी घर पहुंचने के बाद उन्होंने क्या बोला है, कल मैं रोड शो करूंगा. Now the issue is Arvind Kejriwal and his team since his arrest has been trying to project himself as a victim of the Modi government. Now he himself is an embodiment of the Modi government's victim. So he doesn't need to speak much, and he will not speak much, I can tell you. But the kind of articulation he will do, the kind of campaigning he will do, he himself becomes a symbol of somebody who's fighting against the Modi government, and he will project that, and that will be more effective than his words.
Shazia Ilmi, just looking at the data, nothing else, because this is a Lok Sabha election, the BJP had almost all 7 seats firmly in the bag. Maybe on 1 or 2 seats like Chandni Chowk, there would have been a battle. You could have possibly won that, lost that, but it was still strong towards the BJP. by the Enforcement Directorate's act of first arresting Kejriwal, now by the Supreme Court granting him this interim bail, you've made Delhi a phenomenally exciting election. I'm saying this just as a journalist. I mean, not in terms of who wins, who loses. Whoever wins or loses will give us only galis. But it becomes really exciting. The fact is, this is a trouble you brought upon yourself. Shazia?
So Rahul, if you allow me in, first of all, if there was actual Tana Shah and dictatorship, how did Kejriwal get bail? That's a very important question. So I don't get the semantics of it. Two, and most importantly, he looks very hale and hearty, extremely well fed. So all the stories about some bid to do away with him unceremoniously are also been proved wrong. Now let's come to hardcore elections. I mean, it is hilarious for me to see this happen, to have Congress speak for Kejriwal and, cry out in sympathy and empathy and what have you. Because who Kejriwal will impact? Somebody, a party with 0 Lok Sabha seats. Who will he impact the most is the 13 seats in Punjab. No, Delhi, as it is, as you said, is a Lok Sabha election. People in Delhi know exactly who they're voting for. When it comes to Prime Minister, when it comes to Chief Minister, they know exactly very well who they're voting for. So there is clarity there. But imagine who this impacts the most, if at all, would be Punjab, because there are 13 seats over there. And the fight is primarily between Aam Aadmi Party and Congress. So actually, it's a hilarious state of affairs. A party which has 0 Lok Sabha seats is being made out to be by India Alliance as the driving force to make the alliance win. And Sanjay Singh actually makes such, absolutely insane claims. And everybody buys it. I'm like so shocked. And not just that. If you see the basic plea, so this is Char Din Ki Chandni, Fir Andheri Raat.
No, this is an important point, Anmol Power. Shazia is correct when she says that if this was genuinely autocracy, dictatorship in the way that you're projecting, surely 14 days before the elections when campaigning is still left, he wouldn't have got bail. 25th is when Delhi goes to the polls. There would have been no bail for Kejriwal if India was genuinely an autocracy.
Rahul, then why is it that the Enforcement Directorate, which is working at their behest, is not taking any action against the 25 Narendra Modi certified corrupt leaders for whom he himself rolled the red carpets and they have been given tickets to contest Lok Sabha elections, some are in Rajya Sabha. Ma'am, please allow me to complete. The fact is that they are afraid of the Delhi model of governance, which will triumph over BJP's conspiracy this time. Because this election now has become people of the collective will and aspirations of people of Delhi versus the Mahakorrupt and inefficient BJP government. They are afraid. They are deflecting from real issues. You initially said that this election is about Modi's charisma. I disagree, Rahul. This election is about real issues. This election is about the unemployment, which is at an all-time high since last 45 years. This election is about the farmers. More than 750 farmers laid down their lives. They were promised in 2014 that MSP will be granted to them. What happened to that promise? Narendra Modi ji himself tweeted it. Till date, since last 10 years, they have not been granted MSP. And this election is about the price rise. This election is about women's safety. Their own leaders are languishing behind bars. Their own MLAs are behind bars in rape cases. They did not take any action against Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. And there's a long list of such leaders. So this election is about real issues and people are willing to give them...
But it really, once again, you're making a rhetorical point. I'm trying to stick to the data. Yashwant Deshmukh, by your estimate, what percentage of voters in a state like Delhi are undecided swing voters? Given that we're about 2 weeks away from polling in Delhi, what percentage are swing voters who can now look at this and decide where to go, based on past polls that you've done?
The average is approximately 15%, not more than that. But looking at Delhi, what we have seen historically, Rahul, is that the anti-Congress or anti-BJP, the two blocks over there have been historically around 40% each, and the 20% block which has been swinging this way and that way, as you just mentioned. So, the number of undecided as such in highly polarized, politically polarized atmosphere is very less. It's about the relative turnout, Rahul, whether he is successful in enthusing his cadre, his own people, anti-BJP vote to come out and vote, or BJP.
No, but there's one very big difference. If this had been a state like Odisha or Jharkhand, I would have said it takes much longer, Ashutosh, to build a campaign. Explain why you think Delhi is unique, because it's such an urban pocket. Messages can spread fast. Things can change in 48 hours, 72 hours. It's not like coastal Odisha or Jharkhand, where it's much tougher to get your message across. Good or bad, messages can fly in Delhi faster than they can elsewhere.
See, Rahul, if I had been in BJP now, I would have been a worried person for the simple reason, because Delhi is a very, very unique case for two reasons. One case is that the Delhi voters there's a lot of volatility in the Delhi voters. And no reason that in parliamentary election in 2019, Aam Aadmi vote share comes down to 18% and suddenly gets a 300% jump within few months and goes to 54% vote share in the assembly elections. And similarly, there is an 18% drop from the BJP vote share from 56% to 38%. So this volatility shows that there is only 32 to 34% of vote share, which is very committed BJP voters. Rest of the voters are not. And that's why I'm figuring it out because of the assembly polls. Because in assembly polls, BJP last time has got 38% vote share, and in 2014, they got 22% vote share. Now, the issue is that Aam Aadmi Party has failed to open accounts in Delhi for the simple reason because Aam Aadmi Party has never been considered in Delhi as a national player who could challenge Modi or who could form the government at the center. And that is why in 2019 parliamentary election, it is the Congress party who gets the number 2 seat. And the same Congress party who gets number 2, 24% vote share in assembly election, from 24% the vote share suddenly drops to 4%, a drop of 20%. So today, if Aam Aadmi Party is aligned with the Congress party and the message is that they can be an alternative to the BJP, then the same voter who had given up on the BJP, on Aam Aadmi Party in 2019 parliamentary election, suddenly will find a boost, will think that yes, if I'm aligned with the BJP, with the Congress party, then there is a possibility of Modi defeating. Don't forget it. In 2014 parliamentary election, the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress combined vote share were 48%. Whereas in parliament election, it was something around 41% vote share. So there is a solid 41% anti-BJP vote. So that means there are other floating voters. If they combine and they feel that the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress is in a position to defeat, then the BJP has something to lose.
Okay, so let me explain that through data. I just showed you how 18% of the voters are swing voters. So let's now map 3 scenarios. If these swing voters actually move away from the BJP, to the AAP India alliance, then what happens? So if there is no sympathy for AAP and if things stay the way they were, then the tally stays like it was the actual tally of 2019 where the BJP wins all 7 seats. If the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress gets about 1/3 of the swing voters, then the tally becomes 5 and 2, so which means 6% of the swing voters come to them because they're totally 18%. So if 6% come, then the tally is 5-2. If half the swing voters, which is 9, come to AAP and Congress, then the tally becomes India Alliance 5, BJP 2. If AAP and Congress get 2/3 of the swing voters, which is 12% out of the 18, then the AAP and the Congress win all 7 seats. So it can really go from no sympathy to 2/3 sympathy, 7 for India Alliance versus 7 for the BJP. Now the question really is there sympathy? And that's so. Sympathy is also of 2 kinds. One is latent underlying sympathy. So you feel, "Ha, yaar, galat hua, not right." One is you're so sympathetic that you change your intent to vote. That yeah, I was actually planning to vote for BJP and Modi, but I'm sympathetic because of what ED and BJP did. Therefore, I now switch to India Alliance and Congress. If there is that kind of sympathy which leads to transfer of vote, then it's different. The other perspective is that maybe there is just underlying sympathy right now which doesn't translate into transfer, but it translates into transfer in the assembly context. Are you getting what I'm saying? If it transfers into a change in voting pattern, they could wait for the 2025 assembly election कि तब देंगे यार, अभी तो मोदी जी का election अभी मोदी जी को देते, assembly में बताएंगे. So all that can happen. Now that's really, Yashwant, what it comes down to. There may be sympathy, but what is the extent of the sympathy? Is the sympathy ऊपर से कि नहीं केजरीवाल के साथ बुरा हुआ, या इतना बुरा हुआ that I was planning to first vote for Modi, now I want to vote for Kejriwal and AAP and Congress. So that is the question. It's not just, is there sympathy? The question is the spectrum of sympathy. How strong is that sympathy?
Well, that's precisely what I was trying to say, Rahul, and Ashutosh understands this better than me, and Shazia also being, knowing Aam Aadmi Party. The thing is that if I am sympathetic towards Arvind Kejriwal, I might even think of switching from BJP to Aam Aadmi Party candidate. But if I am sympathetic to Arvind Kejriwal and I am anti-Congress, will I swing to a Congress candidate? That's the question, number one. Which I understand that if I'm a Congress supporter and I'm sympathetic to Kejriwal, I will have no problem to voting for Aam Aadmi Party candidate if the Congress candidate is not there. But if I am a BJP supporter and I am sympathetic to Kejriwal, will I vote for a Congress candidate because I am essentially an anti-Congress voter? So that 18% block, which you have been saying from the swing from parliamentary to assembly towards Aam Aadmi Party, which happens to be anti-Congress bloc, will that shift to the Congress candidate? That's the key question, number one. Number two, in a polarization of the anti-BJP and pro-BJP polarization, the contest where it is Aam Aadmi Party versus BJP contest, you have just shown that the gap is actually bigger than the seats where it is the BJP versus Congress candidates. So that will, what I feel as purely from a...
Ashutosh, why did the AAP pick the seats that they did? The seats that they are fighting, the gap between AAP and BJP is more than the seats the Congress are fighting. So just numerically, the Congress seems to have got the better seats. Why would AAP agree to this kind of a deal? Ashutosh, अंदर की कहानी बताओ.
काश मुझे अंदर की कहानी पता होती तो मैं जरूर बता देता इस बार. See, Chandni Chowk is ideally, last time I think Chandni Chowk, in Chandni Chowk, the Aam Aadmi Party did very badly. They lost their deposit there. And in fact, so they thought that the Congress has a better scope because Jayaprakash Agrawal is a veteran, has won 2-3 times from that constituency. In fact, his father is also very well known in that community, and the entire Jayaprakash Agrawal family is also very well known within that community. So I think that goes well with him. And then the East Delhi constituency, again, Kanhaiya Kumar is a strong candidate for the simple reason because his alignment with the Bihari and UP is very strong, like Manoj Tiwari. So nobody else would have given that kind of a touch. And so Aam Aadmi didn't have that something. If Aam Aadmi had given ticket to Sanjay Singh, probably Sanjay Singh would have given a very, very tough fight and probably would have won over there. But in Kanhaiya Kumar, they all know that his alignment with the Northeast, with the UP and Bihar is very strong. So probably this could have been the reason that they chose these two constituencies for the Congress and other constituencies. I don't see there's much of a difference between BJP, between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress. But there is a very interesting thing which I just discovered. You're talking about the 18% vote share drop. See, look at this. In parliamentary election 2019, the Congress vote share drops 18%. From 22% to in the assembly election, it goes to 4.2%. Like the BJP's vote share also drops from 18%, from 56.9% to 38.5%. And this both adds to the Aam Aadmi Party. So there's something around this 18%. What is the jadoo of magic of 18%? That has to be
18% swing voters. That's what we've been identifying. Now this 18% can go. These are 18% people who are okay voting for Modi in the Lok Sabha, okay voting for Kejriwal in the Assembly. Now, Raghav Awasthi, it comes down to the extent of sympathy, not just the existence of sympathy, the extent of sympathy. Does the sympathy stop at saying, oh, bura hua, or does the sympathy go to the extent that they change their mind, that they were originally planning to vote for Prime Minister Modi, now they vote for Kejriwal? That's really the question it boils down to.
I think there is one more important factor, which is that Mr. Kejriwal is actually contesting only 4 seats. So there are 3 seats wherein you are basically asking the swing voters to vote for the Congress. I mean, the question that we are asking here is whether their sympathy is strong enough for Kejriwal to switch over to the Congress, not to the Aam Aadmi Party. And I think that's a big transition. If somebody is, let's say, an anti-Congress voter who's probably never voted Congress, then I doubt very much that the sympathy factor is enough for him or her to vote for the Congress candidate.
Now, this
I
is a
think
very
that
important
for me-
factor that Raghav Awasthi has just pointed out. Yashwant Deshmukh, the fact that the fungibility is more between AAP and BJP, that the AAP voter votes for the BJP in the Lok Sabha and vice versa. Now, whether the AAP voter will be willing, who's also a BJP voter in the Lok Sabha context, will be willing to vote for the Congress on the seat where the Congress candidate is standing. So it's not just add and make it 18, it's also about, yeah, I don't mind BJP in Lok Sabha, I don't mind AAP in Assembly, but now that this guy on my seat is a Congress guy, do I want him as much? Because I may have sympathy for Kejriwal, but do I have sympathy for the Congress? It really boils down on a seat by seat to questions like this.
Exactly the point which I was trying to make right from the starting, that that it is not just about BJP and Aam Aadmi Party, it's about the Congress in the third equation. It's the woe, I mean, as they call, as the third equation. And to the irony of this entire thing is that it's the Congress which has been really trying hard to get their base back from Aam Aadmi Party by being really, really aggressive on the liquor policy against Mr. Kejriwal. So Ajay Makan, for all practical matters for the last 2 years, has been the default leader of opposition in Delhi. BJP actually was nowhere, BJP state leadership in Delhi was nowhere in picture.
Delhi politics is very complex, and especially when two adversaries come together, it becomes even more vitiated. Let me show you what the Delhi Chief Minister said after being released on bail.
मैंने कहा था ना मैं जल्दी आऊंगा, मैंने कहा था ना जल्दी आऊंगा, आ गया। सबसे पहले मैं हनुमान जी के चरणों में वंदना करना चाहता हूँ। हनुमान जी के आशीर्वाद से आज मैं आप सब लोगों के बीच में हूँ। मैं आप सब लोगों का शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ। देश भर के करोड़ों लोगों ने अपनी दुआएं, अपना आशीर्वाद मुझे भेजा। मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजेस का शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ, जिसकी वजह से आज मैं आप लोगों के बीच में हूँ। आप लोगों से एक ही निवेदन है, हमें सबको मिलके देश को तानाशाही से बचाना है। मैं तन मन धन से लड़ रहा हूँ, संघर्ष कर रहा हूँ तानाशाही के खिलाफ, लेकिन 140 करोड़ लोगों को तानाशाही से लड़ना पड़ेगा।
Tanashahi, dictatorship. That's the central message of Arvind Kejriwal. It now boils down to whether all of you watching at this moment and those who will consume this later on digital and social think that there is Tanashahi. Do they find that to be a believable charge? If they do, does it move them enough to change their voting intent? Or is that just very superficial sympathy? Upar say you're sympathetic, but not enough to change your voting intent. That really is what it comes down to. But what's also very exciting is that Delhi is a state where things can change. So if you were thinking that there's no electricity in the election, that's a bit thanda, that's changed now with this, because there will be current, there will be electricity. Remember, as the AAP and the India Alliance go all out, so will the BJP. They will now double down. They're not going to let Kejriwal run away with this, from the Home Minister to the BJP President to the Prime Minister himself. They will come all guns blazing. You heard the Home Minister in that comment he made to India Today in West Bengal, that the more Kejriwal speaks, the more people will be reminded of the liquor scam. The BJP will fight back. These are 7 seats the BJP won in 2019, and they won't be willing to give up on any one of them easily. The swords have been unsheathed, the battle is on, and you have the best ringside view. Keep watching India Today as we get you all the latest in the battle for Delhi in the Lok Sabha, both for the state and the national election. Slipping into a break, I'll have more for you when we come back to the other side. Stay with us.
गेम रिकॉर्ड कोई तोड़ ही नहीं पाता।
एक बार में तोड़ दूंगा।
सो स्मूथ यार।